As a kid, I always thought of journaling as a feminine thing. Like if you remember any Disney shows, only girls would keep diaries. You never saw a guy writing anything in a little book about his day. But as I have grown up, I've realized that journaling is a great way to write down your thoughts and feelings so that you are more level with your emotions. And if you look around at today's world, you can clearly see that we are missing a lot of that. It seems to me that we were all brainwashed as men to not journal, to not write down our thoughts and feelings. We all got told, or me at least, that we should be more emotional and that we should not be scared to talk about our feelings. And although I believe that this can be a good thing, I still can't understand why we were never taught that we could write down our feelings, and that doing that, which is already way easier because you can do it in your own room, so there is less of a resistance to give it a shot. And this brainwashing of the common people with TV shows and movies is something that I can get into on a whole different video. Just look at all the father models in today's shows and movies. 9 out of 10 times, the father is just the comedic relief, kind of a dumbass, and the mother is the big boss girl that gets everything done and has to carry the family on her shoulders. But anyway, as I said, growing up, I didn't even give it a second thought to journal because I didn't want to be feminine. And I still remember when I was 18 years old buying my first journal in secret so my parents wouldn't find out. I started off by writing a full A4 page every single day. I wrote about my entire day and how I felt about everything I did and everything that happened, which was quite a task of itself, but I learned a lot from it. One of the first things I learned was that I did a lot of stuff that I didn't actually like. For example, I was mean to my parents and other people more often than I realized. Not like getting mad and yelling at them, but just making a mean remark sometimes and then afterwards feeling bad about it. And because I was writing it down in my journal, I got a chance to reflect on it. And then I was like, why am I being mean? And although I was probably going through puberty, I didn't want it to be an excuse for my behavior. So, journaling gave me insights into my behavior and made me realize that I didn't always associate with the version of the person that I was showing to people. And looking back at it now, I can confidently say that journaling gave me personal integrity that I'm still profiting from today. Now, over the years, I have not always been consistent with journaling. I can be honest about that. When life is going well and I feel like I don't have much to write about, I sometimes forget or just don't do it for weeks, and sometimes it was even months at a time. But I've always come back around to it, and it's like whenever I have a shit day or I'm feeling down about something, I now just have the urge to write it down and get it out of my head. It just works like an outlet for me. I feel like I can think way more clearly if I can write stuff down and try to look at the bigger picture. Because I know for myself that I can be a very emotional person. But this has improved a lot since I've started journaling and working on myself. But I still catch myself getting worked up about something that isn't worth getting worked up about. And in these situations specifically, journaling gives me clear headspace that makes me less emotionally unstable. And over the past year or so, I have started being more consistent with my journaling, mainly because I've been working on gratitude. Gratitude for me is something that I do really need to work on. I still catch myself sometimes expecting a lot from life and from people just because it has always been like that. And that's a scary place to be in. Expecting things from life and from people just because things have been their way all the time. It can be drastic sometimes if there are sudden changes, and you always need to be ready for everything that life throws at you. As I have gotten older, and now that I have experienced going to a country where wealth disparity is as big as it's going to get, I have found a new appreciation not only for life itself, but for all the small things in my day to day life. I now catch myself smiling at sundown whenever I get the chance. I love looking at cool clouds again. These are things that I know I used to do often when I was still quote unquote young. and not yet so focused on locking in and so distracted by all the social media and all the content that I consume every single day. There are many distractions in the world today, with social media, of course, being the biggest one. I had a period in my life when I was kind of lost. I went to university, and when I got home, I would game or consume content for the rest of the day. And although I went to the gym often and still played football back then, if all you do in your free time when you're home is just consume content and game and whatever else is bad for you, after a while it starts to not feel good. I started feeling empty. It felt like I was just going through the motions of my life. At some points, I remember it just felt like it was like life was being played for me. I didn't even need to do anything. I was on some kind of autopilot mode. And with the help of journaling, I took back control of my life. I took life with both hands and I lifted myself out of this pit that I had buried for myself. It took some time, and sometimes I feel myself slipping back in. But with the help of self perspective and life perspective, through writing down my experiences, thoughts, and feelings in this little black book that I bought and I now view as an essential part of my life, I have gained trust in myself and in God that I am following the right path down the slippery slope that is life. At this current moment in my life, I have a very positive relationship with journaling and I never see it going away. That is why I want to motivate all of you to start as well. It doesn't have to be a full A4 page like I did at the start. It can be as short as one sentence per day. When I don't feel like I have anything useful to write down or I don't know what to write down, I write down one or two things that I'm grateful for in life, or one or two things that I still want to accomplish this week, this month, or this year. It can be anything, as long as you feel like you're getting something from it. The point is not to write down everything you did that day, although you can if you like. I view journaling as an escape portal where you can write down your brilliant, innovative ideas that you feel are going to make you rich, or all your stupid business ideas that you think are going to make you rich. The point is that you will never remember all your thoughts. That is impossible. How many times have you forgotten something at home, or went into a room and forgot why you were even there? So yeah, if you really think that you're going to remember all your great thoughts, that's probably not gonna work. That's another reason why journaling can be a great tool. It is a little notebook where you can write down your great ideas and thoughts so that you can revisit them later. And who knows, maybe it can turn into a multi-million-dollar idea. I want to finish this video off by saying that you should just start journaling. I remember when I first started, I didn't know what to write about, and that is why I just wrote about my entire day. But like everything else, you can level up in journaling. After a while, you start finding what feels productive to write about for you, and it starts coming naturally. And hopefully, eventually, you start looking forward to the moment when you get home and you can write about the stuff you thought about or did today, like me. That's it for today. I'll talk to you next week. Perspective pending. See you.